Hi everyone, I'm here to talk to you about your Google Drive, and hopefully by the end of this you're going to drive away with an organized drive. I'm going to go through the ideas very quickly, and then I'm going to hop over into a Google Drive and show you some of the things that I'm talking about. I will be using a different Google Drive. I can't show you mine because there is too much sensitive information to just share it. But suffice it to say that I intend to, once this is finished, take my own advice and go and organize my drive a little bit. So, is your Google Drive a disaster? Have you resorted to using the search bar to find things? Well, if you follow along, we're hoping to get you back on the road to success. Using the G Suite Education Google Drive is a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing because we never run out of space and we can keep everything in one place. It's a curse because with the unlimited storage, we often just end up dumping stuff in there. And if you're a little bit organizational challenged, as I am, things can get out of hand very quickly. So here are my top ideas to get things organized. First of all, make sure that you have created and organized folders. Folders can be nested inside of other folders. So don't worry about using too many of them. Just make sure that as you're organizing it, that it makes sense to you. Step one, make sure that you name each folder. Now, folders are arranged alphabetically, and you can help with that by putting an A at the front of it or a Z at the front of it, depending on if it's something that you use all the time, then you want an A, it goes to the front. And if it's like something you don't want to throw away, but you haven't used it in quite a while, then I would put a Z in front of it and leave it go to the very end so that it's sort of out of sight, out of mind. Also, if you are one of those kinds of people, folders can be arranged numerically. And so when you put a number in front of it, that actually takes precedence over the alphabetical. And so you can number your folders if you want and prefer to look at it that way. Step two, you can change the color by right clicking on a folder and changing the color if you tend to work predominantly that way and will remember what color is for what. Step three, you can go to emojipedia.org to find symbols and emojis, which you can then post in with the folder name. And you can see here that I created a science folder with a little microscope at the end of it. Purge. Don't be afraid to delete files. If it's something that you haven't used for a very long time and you can't see ever using that again, maybe it's an old PDF that you uploaded from your filing cabinet that these days it's just easier to do a Google search to find something new, or maybe it's something that you don't teach anymore, haven't taught for a long time, can't ever see yourself teaching it again. Don't be afraid to delete. Let's say you have a file and you don't know which folder to put it in. Do I put it in my year plans or do I put it in my subject? Well, you can put them in both. So by clicking on a folder or a file, and going Shift Z, you can add that file to more than one folder. So it doesn't matter which one you're looking in, you'll still have access to that file. Your shared with me drive. A lot of people get very stressed out by your shared with me drive. Don't worry about it. It's a disaster. It's going to stay a disaster. It's not really for you to worry about. If there's something in there that you use often, make sure you click on the Add to My Drive. Otherwise, ignore it. Make sure that you give every file a home and a name. Use Control or Shift to block select files when you're organizing and putting them in places. And that's my top tips in a nutshell. I'm going to show you very quickly some of those things that I was talking about by going to this Google Drive right here. So you can see that these folders are all in alphabetical order. If I right click on, maybe I want this stickers and emojis to go first, I'm going to go rename and I'm going to put a number 1 in front of it. And you'll notice that right away, it popped it up here to the front. Maybe Screencastify. I'm not going to use that. Well, let's take this one and I'm going to rename that one and I'm going to put a Z in front of it. Doesn't matter if it's a capital or a small one. And then it sticks it at the end. So the more folders that you get in here, the more you may want to organize it. So this one, I can change its color. I often use this red for the classroom folder because to me, red means stop. So I know that I shouldn't be doing anything with that classroom folder because it's the Automagic folder that's created through Google Classroom, and I don't like to touch it or do anything with it. So I will often make that red as well. Next thing, let's hop over to emojipedia.org. And maybe I'm going to look for a flower in that search. Let's take this blossom. So when I click on it, I can simply go copy, and back in my drive, if I would like to rename something, and I like to put my emojis at the end, but you can put them in the front as well. There I'm able to sort of have a little bit of fun by adding my emojis there. Or if you want to coordinate units according to emojis, I have read posts about people using these emojis in their Google Classroom, and every unit that they have has a different emoji. So it's a visual reminder to students which unit you're in. So that could also be used here. Now, let's see here. Maybe I want to take this file and I want to add it to 2 folders. So the first thing, I need to put it in 1 folder to begin with. And I'm going to stick that into, well, I'll find one up here, maybe this June PD. Now this is a small drive. It's new. There isn't a ton of stuff in it. But my drive, when I go down like this, because I have a lot of homeless files, it just keeps going and going and going and going. And it doesn't make it easy to grab a file down here at the bottom and then scroll up and wait and wait and wait and wait and wait until I finally get to my folders where I want to drop it in. Another trick is over here on the side, wherever you see a drop down arrow beside my drive, that will also give you access to the folders, which makes it much easier when you're dragging over to the side rather than up and waiting. So I'm going to put this untitled document, actually I'm not going to put it anywhere yet because untitled documents should have names. So I'm going to click on it once, tap the letter N, which automatically takes me to renaming. And I want to make sure that as I'm naming a document, I'm being very careful about it. If it's something that I use often with students, I'll call it a template so that I know that it needs to be used. Quite frankly, I will also name things like Copy Me, template for grade 2, 2 slides, which it isn't, but I am going to get very specific with that. And now you can see that Copy Me. I also have ones for posters that say Print Me or things like that. I have even started naming some Delete Me because afterwards, I know I'm not going to keep it around anymore. So I'll call it Delete Me. And then when I'm doing my drive cleanup, I know that you can actually get rid of that. So here I'm going to take that Copy Me template and I'm going to stick it over here in Leah's sessions. So I'll move that into there. I can also take that and put it somewhere else. I'll show you with this one here, my staff meeting folder. If I use my Shift and Z together, it is going to ask me, where do I want to keep this? So I want to keep it in, let's put it in Google Everything. I think Mem's going to be groaning about me not organizing this very well, but let's put it there. But do you notice that it actually hasn't disappeared? It has been added to that folder, but it's also still where I left it because I didn't actually drag it and move it around. But if I were to go into Oh, great. Where did I put it? I put it in Google Everything, right? See, there it is here as well. So I have two ways to find that same file just by using the Shift Z. If I'm going to move a whole bunch of things at once, I can click on the first one, press and hold my Shift key, click on the last one, and then I can let go of my Shift. But then as I click and don't let go, you can see it grouped all three of those things together. And I'm going to put that over here in Art on a Chromebook, and I can move all of those at once. It makes way more sense to move multiple files at a time than just one. You might be there all day. The other thing is I can choose what I want to select. So maybe I'm going to move this one, but I don't want this one. I do want this one. So I'm going to press and hold my Control, and I'm going to click this one, and I'm going to click that one. And you'll notice that it left those two out, but it chose all three of those. And then I can move those as well over to something. So using that to give your files homes is a very handy tool as well. In Shared With Me, remember, this is not your mess to deal with. The only thing that you need to do is if somebody shares something with you that you want to have access to a lot, you're going to click on it one time and you're going to go up here to Add Shortcut to Drive. And then that you no longer have to go back into you are Shared With Me. You can stay in my drive and you will find it there as well. I think I've covered everything. Hopefully this has given you some tools to be able to drive away at some point with an organized drive. Good luck, and you know where to find me if you need more help.